Nikky here. Doing another masking and bemoaning, and today we're going to review Bridgerton, the first season of Bridgerton that just came out on Netflix. Bridgerton is based on the 2015 novel by Julie Quinn. The first one is called The Duke and I. That's what the first season is based off of. I have not read the book, so let's start in with that. Do you love a period piece? Do you love Pride and Prejudice? Do you love Gossip Girl? This might give you all the things. All right, so before we get into that, there's no actual mask. My face has been itching. It has been needing hydration. It is still winter, even though down here it has not decided what it wants to do. So I am actually just going to be cleaning my brushes. I have my empty basket. I will probably be looking down a lot because that's what I'm gonna be doing. Got a bowl, got the big ball of this. I'm doing just spot cleaning, but it'll still disinfect them with the Cinema Secrets Pro Cosmetics, the makeup cleanser that smells vanilla-y. I love it. The spray works best for powder. If you have foundations, you need to dip it, hence the bowl. Same things with your liners and things like that, and even like gel. Like this is my spoolie. I use that to brush up my eyebrows with Got to Be glue. So yeah, that's what you can also do if you want laminated brows, but you can do that with any hair gel or whatever. You don't have to do it with anything special, which I would have thought about. I didn't think about it till after I bought like the very expensive one from Patrick Tom. I'm at my vanity again from this one. It's not very expensive, but I don't hardly reach for it. It's like wax, and you have to like wet it. And I just got the clear one. And yeah, that's what it looks like. It's yeah, wax. You wet it, go over it with your spoolie. Boom, boom, boom. Here we are. Even the ends have started to curl up on this, but maybe that's just what it does. But I'm going to use it up eventually, and that's who we are. But yeah, on my face I actually have the Ice Cinamides Deep Moisturizer, which is really too heavy for my normal moisturizer. That is from Sunday Riley, so I use it as a moisture mask at night. So probably when I wake up, my face is gonna be super greasy but nourished. And I'm gonna pop on the Lifter Glosses in Ice by Maybelline. These are kind of great. It's not that much product though. I feel like I went through this super fast because people are like, it's a dupe for the Fenty. I don't know about all that, but I still like it. It is, how big is this? Well, it's 0.18 ounces, so there you go. I also have the new gloss from Fenty, one of the cream glosses, the Honey Waffles, but I'm not popping that on. This is just before I'm getting ready for bed. All right, anywho, let's get into Bridgerton. Oh, and when you clean your brushes, you need a paper towel, whatever. So yeah. All right. So the first season is 8. There are 8 episodes of Bridgerton, which is kind of normal one for a Netflix show. Not necessarily a Netflix show. Well, like I just finished Sabrina as well, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and that they have been like 8 episodes, even though it started off as 10. But that's like a normal run for them. It's also kind of normal if you watch shows from the BBC. A lot of those are like 6 episodes, and it tells you everything, which, you know, it didn't need to be longer than it is. And like I said, this is based off of a novel from Julie Quinn, who is an American romance novelist in 2015. So the tone of this book is, and it's set in like the Regency era. The Regency era is from 1811 to 1821. So there are quite a few things going on, and you will see that in the basis of this. Most when you talk about the Regency era, think again of, you get your, you know, your Jane Austens, your Charlotte, the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, and the other one I can't ever remember. Is it Emily? That sounds like, but they, you know, famous romance novelists for this time, which I love. Although I will admit, my favorite is Pride and Prejudice. I have liked both versions, both popular versions. I like the version with Keira Knightley. I like the version with Colin Firth. I like both of those. Pride and Prejudice is a good time. I even saw one that's supposed to be like the follow-up of after Lizzie is married to Darcy Fritz William. After they are married and they're actually, it's called like A Death Comes to Pemberley. That was pretty good, but she's married and I don't know if that is a novel later on. I don't think it is, but it was still a good follow-up because she still had to deal with her family. I still like the Bennets as a whole. They were very flushed out. One of the ones I love to watch but hate to read, Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is a terrible read. Good movie. And what just makes it so bad is that it's the exact same thing. Every adaptation of Jane Eyre I've ever seen was a good adaptation. But I was like, yeah, that's what happens in the book, but the book, oh my goodness, it's so boring. I think I don't like, it's not Jane Austen. I'll insert whoever wrote Jane Eyre. I don't like the writing style in that particular one. But I like Northanger Abbey. The most recent one I've seen that's also in this time period to give you something else is Sanditon, which is supposed to be Jane Austen's last novel. So, and it takes like, and it's never finished. But they made like the BBC and on PBS on Masterpiece, they made like it's either 6 or 8 episodes of a novel. Same kind of thing, you know, there's always a female heroine or a heroine who, in the case of Bridgerton, it is Daphne Bridgerton. She is the main character. They always have a family. She, in particular, is rich, and in Sanditon, the main girl is not. So, things like that. But generally, all around a good time. You have like well-rounded characters, and it is focused on women. Okay, so the big buzz about this was supposed to be that Bridgerton itself is they're doing colorblind casting. I'm like, this is not colorblind. I'll just say that it is diverse. I'm gonna put that in quotation marks. I'm pouring more as my solution, so I'm not throwing up quotation marks. Okay, so I am not gonna actually say that. It is technically diverse. I do want to say that this is brought to us by Shonda Rhimes under her production family, Shondaland. Shonda Rhimes is not a writer on Bridgerton. So, but this is just done with her company. So, the gist of Bridgerton, before we get into some themes. You follow the Bridgerton family. They are going to be the protagonists. Even though for this particular season it's basically two people. It's between Daphne and Simon. So we'll get to them, but I'm gonna give you the gist before we get into it. So Daphne, it is basically like courting season. So this is the time, I would say springish, when love is supposed to be in the air. So it's all the young titled ladies and the like, or aristocratic ladies looking for husbands, as one does within this time period. So it's the season, which is a bunch of balls. Hopefully at the end you end up courting, and eventually you're married before the year is out. So various people, usually an older lady, older family will throw a ball so that they can meet out, and all the girls and debutantes, or whatever you want to call them, are introduced into society. And at the beginning of this whole thing, they're all being presented to the queen. So I don't know how much of that is necessarily true, or why she would even necessarily care like everybody, but that's neither here nor there. But that's how the story is. Okay, the Bridgertons are a family of 10. The father has recently died, leaving the oldest son, Anthony, to be the Viscount of Bridgerton. So yes, he's Viscount Bridgerton. And I just read recently when I was doing my little preparation, because it's never mentioned how their father dies. It said that he's been dead for 10 years because they did age up Anthony a bit. that their father died from a bee sting, like people were. People are still allergic to bee stings, so that's how he died. He died suddenly, and this all happened when Anthony was 18. So that was like maybe 10 years ago. Anthony is the oldest. There are, like I said, there are 8. There's Anthony, there is Benedict, there's Colin, Daphne. We're gonna put a little asterisk on her. Eloise, Fran, who is not really in this story. She actually goes, you see her at the beginning, and at the end she goes to visit like an aunt the whole season, so that's fine. And then there's Gregory and Hyacinth. Those are, and Hyacinth is a girl named after the flower Hyacinth. Terrible name, in my opinion. But, and yeah, so it is basically the kids. None of them are really all that important for this story besides Daphne, but like I said, the Bridgerton series of 8 novels follows the family in different ones at different points. This particular one just happens to be about Daphne. The other main 2 that you would kind of focus on, even though the other ones are throughout the story, is you're definitely gonna focus on Anthony, although it would not be this season, but next season is really allegedly when it's supposed to be about Anthony. So it's kind of gonna be like a almost anthology style, so you'll still be in the same world, which is fine with me, but you just have different stories, and no one is, it's like all the characters will essentially be there throughout however long they get to do and whatever. But like I said, it's not, you see Anthony, he's important because he is, like, he's the head of the house, so he's going to be the one who makes a decision ultimately to says who his sister can marry, because again, we're in between 1811 and 1821. That's the Regency period, which goes into the Georgian period. So it actually, King George III is the current king at the time of this story, with his queen Charlotte, who allegedly was a woman of color. Okay, so which we'll come back to that. So anywho, Daphne is out. She makes a big impression. She's the oldest girl, like I mentioned all their names, so it's important that she gets the ball rolling for all the rest of her sisters. But yeah, because yeah, it's Daphne, Eloise, Fran. It's 4, they're equal on both sides, 4 boys, 4 girls. So yeah, and Eloise is a good character too. She might actually be my favorite Bridgerton, and they're fine, but like some of them, they're just not important for this particular tale. Because again, it's focused on Daphne and Simon Bassett are the focus. Okay, so basically she is going into society. She makes a big impression. She's supposed to be, you know, literally the belle of the ball. And Anthony is basically like blocking her because, you know, he's a cad, but like in a fun way. He's not malicious. That's what I'll say. Cad's not even that. He's just honestly not ready for the real responsibility of being the Viscount Bridgerton, so the head of his household, which is a lot, and especially since it kind of happened suddenly for him. Like they said, like I said, it's 10 years on the show, but in the series, but in the book, it's like this just happened. Their daddy just died, so he is not taking anything seriously. He's showing them he's supposed to be Daphne's escort, because again, a man has to escort somebody, and the only person that she's either escorted by Anthony or Benedict, who is the next eldest as well. Benedict is the artist. Benedict's not really important in this one, but he shows up. You see his other lifestyles, neither here nor there. So it's between them two and and her mother, who is the widow Bridgerton. I don't even know their mama's name. I just say Mama Bridgerton at this point. But so he pushes away all of her suitors to the point that he's intimidating them. So, which I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. But he's not telling Daphne anything, which that will circle back and be the theme of the whole series. How Daphne does not know diddly squat, even going. She doesn't know what it takes. It was an interesting commentary on the women of that time. Like, she doesn't even know, none of the ladies even know that, you know, about pregnancy and things like that. They think that you honestly had to be married to be pregnant because that's what you're supposed to do. We see that breakup later on. We'll go back into that. But you see like different families throughout this. So, but anytime he's turned them off to the point where our only real suitor is Nigel Bearbank. Am I saying that right? Yes, Bearbank, and he is terrible. And he wants her because not only do all the women want they want good matches. I mean, it benefits the men too. So of course the Bridgertons are nice, all nice and wealthy and whatnot. They have the name. They have not only the name, they got the standing and actual money. Like their house is nice. You know, it's just like when you see it, estates and all that, and for them to have all them children, you know, they are not struggling and wanting for anything. You can even see that in Daphne's clothing, all their clothing, really. Lots of satins. The costuming is great. The Regency period dresses are also very flattering on women, especially one if you're pregnant or you got a little tum-tum, you know. And because it's like, you know, the umpire waist is where we see those becoming popular at first. But like the way that they had whatever support they had built up in those dresses, you know, them titties was sitting. It was sitting. They looked very nice. It was very nice. Colorful. Wonderful costuming throughout this whole thing. Okay, back on there. So she ends up meeting at one of these balls, trying to get away from Nigel. This is before we know the depths of his terribleness, and she runs into Simon. Simon Bassett is the new Duke of Hastings. He is coming into London to settle his affair. It turns out that him and Anthony do know each other, because the Daphne, when she ran into him, she really wasn't trying to like hit on him, because of course all the ladies want a Duke. And you know, let's keep it real. Regé-Jean Birch or some Page, that's it. A mess. He is good looking, and they let him have a full beard. I was like, yes, I'm here for this. Yes, facial hair. Okay. And he's biracial. I'm not gonna say he's black, but he's black in here. But yeah, we'll get to that. Okay. So he comes to settle his affairs for his father. That's why he's in London for the season. But of course, and also none of the women know that are pursuing him, because they're just trying to get married, that he has made a vow to his father on his deathbed that he would not have children, he would not get married and carry on the lines of Hastings, because the Duke of Hastings is terrible. Like, I know we talking about Daphne and trying to give y'all the rundown. Like, he's Tyler Perry bad of terrible. I was like, y'all are doing the most. Okay. And then I was like, I will bring that back up when I'm talking about the diversity in this thing. Okay. We'll come back to that. So he comes to settle his affairs, and basically she, you know, kind of tries to talk to him, not really actually trying to push up on him like the other women and their moms, basically, because none of the fathers are being particularly active during this whole season, because it's like all these women are trying to get their daughters married off, because that's what they're there to do. You know what time it is. It was like that until, you know, basically 1970 something. I mean, you know, being a unwed woman was just looked down upon. And you didn't, you know, you can't own anything, you can't have anything in your name, you couldn't do anything by yourself, so you essentially needed a man. So we know history. Let's just go from there. I'm not gonna get too much more into that. But you know, I still want to say, at least not have your husband be a total, complete jerk the way Burbook is. So she is trying to get away from him, because he was trying to kind of force his way on that. He has a very forceful and forceful personality, and he's very pushy, to the point that besides him being busted, he just automatically made Daphne feel uncomfortable. And I was like, girl, I'm uncomfortable for you. So she runs into the Duke and really trying to, you know how that people do that thing, like people do that now when there's a guy, I guess, well, guys may not know this. It's like I'll try to talk to somebody else because there's a man being a kind of a creep. I mean, not recently, we can't go out like that, or at least you're not supposed to, and I'm not. So, you know, you start talking with somebody, sometimes it's just a stranger. I'm just acting like I'm having a conversation to not have to talk to this creep. Okay, so, and of course, you know, Simon, he's all in his own space, and he's like, you know who I am, this is pathetic, this, that, and the third. And she was like, and so they have like a tit for tat back, and then that's when Anthony walks up, and it's like, oh, it's my homeboy Simon from Eton or Oxford, wherever they went to school together. I know that Anthony went to Eton, which is, you know, famous Eton College. That's where, you know, all the posh boys go to. Famously, Eddie Redmayne, Princess William and Harry, etc. Centuries, old school, but it's high school. You know, it's like it's a high school. But they also, but I think Anthony went to Oxford, also an old college. So, educated and money, that's what you need to know about everybody involved. But that's how they know each other, so they have been friends for a while. So it's just like, oh, I didn't know you were coming back home, you know. He was kind of messing with him, like, ooh, look at look, it's the new Duke of Hastings, you know. And they do all that back and forth. And then at another ball, this same thing is going on at another ball because Anthony is still scaring suitors away. But somehow, and he calls himself protecting, but he can't focus because he's too busy having an illicit situation with the opera singer that he's not going to marry or have any plans with. He doesn't even try for her. And she brings this up, so that's pretty much the extent that we see with Anthony. And his relationships, because he doesn't want to take on the responsibility, which it's like he doesn't really have a choice either. But, you know, he could did right by that girl. It's like, but he knows that he does not need, that would be kind of scandalous, him bringing home this opera singer, and he has to do right because, again, he's the oldest. So there's a little bit more cush, like if Bennett or Colin wanted to kind of do whatever that Bennett, Colin, and Greg, that's a little boy. The Greg and Hyacinth are really not important. They're kids. So they are not even, everybody else is kind of coming of age and has like a fleshed out personality. We kind of just see them to let you know, hey, it's 8 kids in this thing. Yeah. Because I think Daphne is 18. I want to say. So that's where we are. She may in fact be younger in the book because that's just how it goes, but I want to say she's gonna have to be younger in the book because I wonder, I'm gonna have to look up, and I'm not going to insert, I'm just gonna, this is for my own, I don't know how old Simon is because him and Anthony are the same age, or at least they were at school together, so they're the same age group. Yeah, but Simon is a man. Alright, but anywho, and she's still having a bad look with the suitors to the point that the queen was like, man, I don't have to take back my Belle of the Ball tag that I was hyping you up for, because it seems like I was mistaken, and you know she hates being wrong. And it's all gossip around town too, because this, like I said when I at the beginning, how this is kind of a Gossip Girl situation. Because the style of this show, it does remind me of Gossip Girl, which I did not watch. I was like, I don't care for this. I tried, and I was like, no, thank you. But there is a gossip kind of pamphlet, kind of newspaper that comes out, Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown has all the tea about all of the society. She has all the society tea about what's going on. So anytime anybody makes any kind of bad impression, or there's any kind of gossip just to be had, you know, that she reports it. And big part of the story is that everybody's trying to find out, including the queen, who enlists Eloise to see who the Lady Whistledown is, because it's just like she is spilling real tea. She spilled, you know, the tea that, you know, Daphne was called in the garden. Why is Daphne and you know, Daphne doesn't have any suitors, even though she was the belle of the ball, how it was looking. So that's one thing, you know, so-and-so got married, but they went off so quickly, which is odd. So people were just, you know, it's something to be had gossip, but you know what tabloid is. Gossip is not new, and we live for the drama. So, okay, so with that, Lady Whistledown, so between this whole thing, the whole season, like I said, Nigel being a cat, he tries to press Daphne when she tries to just get a walk and another, just get some air to get away from him, because he was doing too much. So, so she goes for a walk, and he was basically like, you gonna marry me? And she was like, I didn't agree to this, and I don't care what you and Colin said, and you didn't ask nobody if that's what they wanted to do. But you know, good on her. And he tries to basically like fill her up, and she punches him. I was like, go girl, and knocks him out. And that is when Simon just happens to walk up. So, and then they concoct this plan that in order for her to get more suitors, because the most thing that men want is something that they can't have, is that so that would make her more appealing and help her get suitors. This plan does work. And then he, on his end, Colin is tired of people trying to holler at him when he has made this vow once again that he is not going to get married and not going to have kids because of his evil Tyler Perry daddy. You know? Oh, okay. So this works out. Of course, they fall in love. Whoop, whoop, whoop-de-woo. They didn't realize their passions overtaking her, because actually, you know, like a Prince of Prussia comes in, starts showing interest in Daphne. Daphne was gonna take it because, I mean, it's a prince. He had a good prospects, and he really liked Daphne, like straight, and really willing to propose straight out the gate. And he, you know, kisses her in the garden at another ball. It's balls galore. Throughout this whole thing, it's like 8 or 10 balls. I'm like, good grief, y'all. So, and they start making out in the garden, and of course, you know, Anthony sees, because Daphne ran out because she started hyperventilating because everything with the prince was moving a little too fast. The prince ain't important, that's why we flying through this section. Okay, so it starts moving a little too fast, and she goes to good area. Daphne follows, and you know, she's hyperventilating and all this, and then they start making out. Anthony comes out to check on his sister, punches his friend Simon out, and he was like, you know, you dishonor her, you doing wrong, I knew you was bad, you knew she a virgin and all this kind of stuff. He didn't say that, but you know, he was implied, because like I said, Daphne don't know where babies come from. So, you know, and like none of them do. Okay, so, and they were like, you know what, he was like, you know what, I can't marry her. He's like, well, then we gonna duel. So they go out to duel. Daphne goes and breaks it up, because she's like, it's ridiculous. We can get married. I have accepted the fact that, okay, you can't have kids, then we're not gonna have kids. But y'all fighting, and we love each other. We don't have to have children. And it's like, you see me as a friend, and this, that, and the third. So they have like a mutual respect for it. It's like a very nice relationship. So I would see that. So yeah, she interrupts the duel because men are stupid dueling, and they get married, try to rush the wedding before it gets out that, hey, they were making out in the garden, you know, even though nothing happened, but back in the day, it would have ruined her whole reputation. So yeah, they get married, they go off, she becomes the Duchess of Hastings, and then to find out that, yeah, she thinks that he can't have children because that's what he implied, and he never corrected her, because again, she don't know where children come from. So she finds out from somebody, and that's a point of contention through the whole thing. There's also a scene where she basically rapes him, but we try to dress it up, but that's what happens. Cause she was just like, he lied to me, and then they were like, we're gonna fall out.